Hey guys. Well, we'll give the rest of the folks a little bit of time to join us, I guess. In the meanwhile, you guys should just feel free to, if you want to talk about amongst yourself, that's fine. If you want me to disappear for a few minutes, that's fine. I'll just switch my camera off. You can call out to me, right? Or if there's specific things you want to talk about, or want me to talk about, you can ask me too. Yeah, for I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, I'll just leave you guys to talk on your own while we're waiting for the rest of the people to join us. Yeah, this seems like a better time to, and be on your own. So yeah, I can switch off my video and mute myself. But I'm listening, at least for the keyword. Like even if I'm not listening to everything you say, I'll be listening to that keyword, like Alexa. You say, hey, Professor or Anand, and I'll just tune in immediately.
Is everyone doing good? Oh, there's that squirrel.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, hey guys, I'm back because I'm hearing absolute silence. So I decided, maybe you guys are not talking or waiting for something. So yeah, basically today what we want to do is carry on what we were doing last class. I think David or someone said that, many of you had code that you wanted to show, but we ran out of time before then, right? So we can just walk through that code today, everybody. So here's how we'll do it, right? Just give yourself 5 minutes and you can take the stage for 5 minutes. So here's the only condition I have. Okay, and I thought about it yesterday, right? Because we had a very similar thing happen last quarter. For the first time, it was moderately successful. But then yesterday I was thinking how to make it better. Okay, and I think I have an idea how to make it better. You're not allowed to bring existing code and paste it into the window. Okay, whatever you do, even if it's a billion line masterpiece, it has to be crafted on screen, starting from a blank slate. Okay, and whatever you're able to do in 5 minutes is fine. Right? So if you have a master program, you've tried it many times and it's, it works beautifully, right? And you want to show it to the rest of the class, just, try it out in your head a few times, and you can refer to it too, but you can't just copy and paste it. You got to type it in. And I think keeping it that way will keep it, interesting for everybody, because you also now have a game with rules, right? If games without rules are no fun, because you can do anything, right? So if you have a few rules, then you can see how to optimize. Constrained optimization is the interesting problem, always, right? In every field, constrained optimization. So that's why in games we have these rules, and I think to make it more interesting. So that's the rules. So you can do anything you want, 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes of coding time, and hopefully the rest of you should police the 5-minute time. Not really police, right? You just come in and say, hey, your time's up, or something like that. And so we'll see how many we can go through, right? And then we can watch. And so let's say, while we're waiting for the rest of the people, I don't know, it's still only 8:05. Let's give them 5 more minutes, right? Because usually we start at 8:15. So let's give, well, a lot of you are here, but we'll still start at 8:15. All right, 8:10. Until then, confer amongst yourselves and decide who is going to go when, and pick some kind of an order. And you can say, yeah, and then also you can think about what you're going to demo, right? Maybe a slight modification of what someone else did before. That's fine too, right? So perfectly fine. Maybe Hawaiian or someone, says, and he codes up a little program, and then it's gone right at the end. And then maybe Charlie takes over, and when Charlie takes over, he can do exactly the same thing. Right, he's going to say, I'm going to try and say the same thing that Hawaiian did, right? Maybe you substitute numbers, right? Maybe he was calculating E, you could calculate pi, or 5 + 7, or 2 + 3, whatever it is. Slightly different, maybe, or maybe even the same, who knows? So it's perfectly fine to do exactly the same as what someone else did, because everyone brings a clean slate and they go taking all of their creations with them, right? So the next one starts with a clean slate again, and that would be really fun. Right, because you're essentially getting, a practice run, really, of coding on your own, with, initially starting with other people to help you, and slowly you'd be able to get more independent. Ideally, you want to get more independent. Not that you want to be coding alone. Eventually, every piece of everything we do is done together, right? So eventually, you're going to be coding in teams and so on. But I don't think that someone who cannot code by themselves. Yeah, I think this is probably true. If you can code by yourself, then you can also code in a team. But if you cannot code by yourself, then you cannot code in a team. So I think it's very important to, even if you want to be a team player, yeah, right? So it's important to learn to code on your own first, which means, coming up with ideas, little ideas, right? Even asking for a name and getting a name, whatever it is. So simple ideas. And we'll do all those, right? We'll get an opportunity to do all those, right? Eventually, I think in just a few classes from now, we cover, a few more interesting things like looping, and I think just with looping and branching statements, we can do quite a bit. And then arrays, that's it. With arrays and looping and branching, you can pretty much do anything you want. Everything else that comes later, after week 6, right? Here's the thing, right? Those who want to know programming, by week 6, we're done. Right, all the nuts and bolts of programming have been shown to you, right? Including even arrays, which don't need to be part of programming, really, if you think about it, right? Because you can have lots and lots of variables. Really, it's just more cumbersome. Arrays just give you, well, we haven't even talked about arrays, right? So by week 6, all the elements of programming are known to you. So what comes after week 6 is basically saying, well, you've got all the Lego pieces. Now we'll also look at how we can get some more complex pieces built out of the smaller ones, so that later on, when we need these complex pieces, we don't need to build it again. We have a whole bunch of those built already. So later on, what we're going to learn is simply just how to make this easier, how to make programming easier and easier, right? Or reduce the likelihood that we'll shoot ourselves in our foot, or reduce the likelihood of danger, so that we can code with less fear. That is really I think with the development of programming is really what we're trying to put in place. All these measures we're trying to put in place, and starting from assembler to more and more complex languages, which let you do very, very specialized tasks, right? Because eventually you can think of a language designed very specifically for AI or machine learning. It's easy, right? So but the statements might be very different, may employ fuzzy logic, or probabilities and things like that, right? So but I think where we're going with that really is to reduce the chances of human error. Everything we introduced in computer science, anything we do, really, even automation, right? So the whole point of automation is that we can reduce the likelihood of human error, right? So you have automatic cars. I'm pretty sure, drive insurance, Geico, and all these people, they would be seriously, concerned about these developments, right? Because the insurance rates have serious bearings on the likelihood of accidents. And so when we introduce automation, which really is programming, what we're doing is reducing the likelihood of error, a human error, right? Because why? Why do we do that? Because we're not comfortable with error. And the reason we're not comfortable with error of any kind, really, I'm not even talking about programming, right? It is true in absolutely true in programming, right? Because in programming, the errors are so poignant, where every time you see something happen, it feels to us like a personal failure, right? We're starting our programming, but it's true in general life too, right? Because every time we make predictions about nature, about other people, about right, and then we see an error. An error is when something does not agree with our prediction. And whether we like it or not, the prediction engine is always running in our heads, right? It's always running a few microseconds ahead of reality, right? Because we have, at any moment in time, our brain is manufacturing all possible, all possible likelihood scenarios, right? Of what is likely to happen. What is that person likely to say this, or likely to say one of these million things, or all these things, right? Is the apple likely to fall? We're building these multiple universes in our head, microseconds, right? So and as long as what we actually see happens to fall in one of those is consistent, we're not surprised. And we move forward, right? So so this is massive graph, graph, infinitely branching graph, and we're following that graph, and we're picking these consistent paths. And sometimes what happens is that we see something, and it's completely surprising, right? And it could be surprising in a good way or a bad way, and that is an error in our prediction, because that is a world, that's a universe that we fail to model. In our graph, we fail to have a node that represents that particular event. And so that is an uncertainty. And I think as humans, we basically love certainty, right? We always want to know, is that right? Can I trust you, right? Why do we want to know? Why are we so happy with certain stuff, right? So there's things that we know for sure, and we're also never happy, right? So I've not met a single person who's happy with uncertainty unless they've accepted it, right? So uncertainty means we don't know what's going to happen, right? And we don't know. I want that to happen, but I don't know if it's going to happen. So uncertainty introduces information, as you learn later on when you study information theory, right? So, but we're not happy with uncertainty. We want certainty. And I think the reason is that when everything is certain, when everything is taken care of, when you can basically just sit around and be happy with no fear, right, that things are going to be disrupted. And you can say, well, it's fine, nothing bad is going to happen, right? You can't say that ever, really, as you think about it, if you're not sure, right? You've got to be 100% sure that nothing is going to happen, right? So then you can be happy. Unless you're sure that nothing bad is going to happen, you can never be 100% happy. Right, so I think that is the reason. Yeah, it's a conjecture you can test, right? We can test, at least you do some soft tests to start with, right? Before we do neural tests. And anyway, so I think the error with computer science and programming is that, and because we're not comfortable with these, the error, we always tend to think that, we shouldn't make these mistakes in programs. I don't even know why we started talking about this. Anyway, I'm basically taking away your time. What time is it? Yeah, it's 8:15. Anyway, maybe people have joined us. Well, honestly, you guys were supposed to be talking now. You can take some time to talk and pick some time. If you want me to step away for a few minutes while you decide on who's going first, or who because I know last time David or someone.
I think Eliana was the last one to write a program for everyone.
Yeah, but David said that lots of people had programs. David, did you say that? Did you say lots of people had programs they were waiting to go?
I didn't say lots. I think a few people wrote some programs as requested. And they wanted to show theirs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Okay. So
Okay.
go ahead. At some point, if you want me to butt in, I'm happy to join in the conversation. Otherwise, when you guys are done, call me, and then what we'll do is take one of your programs, or pick someone new, and then we'll do another live coding like we usually do, right? So we'll do something, and do. Is it week 2? Yeah. Well, if you're ready for it, we don't have to. But if you feel ready for it, we can play around with a little bit with branching statements, right? Honestly, we're supposed to talk about branching statements and looping next week, right? It's week 3. but what the hell? We give it a shot. I've looked at your code and you looked at what you guys are doing now. I think we can start playing with it. So at least this weekend you'll have something interesting to do, right? So we can do that. But play around now. Every one of you should have a chance to demo. It's just demo.
Sure.
And I think, I haven't figured out yet how you can get your, but what we can do is people like Isaiah who want to demo, what they can do is maybe someone else can help out, right? So maybe Turkey or Mark basically can drive the screen and Isaiah can call out. And then hopefully, so those of you, I don't know, maybe not just Isaiah. Maybe there was one other person who was just using.
I think it was Ricardo. I think I'll pick Ricardo next. Does that work?
No, there was one more person also who was using a Bluetooth keyboard, and the keyboard was dropping out. And then Chanyi said, "Don't worry, I'll take over." Anyway, so people with Bluetooth keyboards and keyboard skipping, also make sure that you use someone else, right? If you know someone who's driving well, fine. You guys are helping each other. So maybe one person can drive, and you can just switch voices. That's fine too. Right, save time, and then maybe easier to record and snip things out. So choose, pick and choose, and I'll just switch off my video and my audio, but I'll be an observer. Okay, so I'll take a look, and I'm not going to chime in, even if you guys are saying something wrong. That's fine, because I know I've said lots of the wrong things and gone away with it until it came back to me. Right, and then I fixed it and said, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I was going around saying this thing 5 years ago. I should have probably said this instead of that. I was totally wrong." Right. So, and then that way I actually know now. Right. So even if you say wrong things, unless what you're saying is going to be dangerous to you. Right. So if it's going to be dangerous to you or someone else, then I'll say, hey, let's try and do something else. But if it's something that is just wrong and not going to be pose a big danger to you or to your grades, if you're concerned about those things, I'll come back and say and chime in. Otherwise, I'm just going to let you guys, because what's the point? What's the point of keeping you away from all these errors you're going to try and make? No, these are simple errors. You've got to make these things. You better to make them in class. Okay, better to make all the errors. Like I think there was someone said, "How do I become a great writer?" And it wasn't Quora. It wasn't Quora. It was a long time ago. I used to be on Quora, right? And someone answered, and I thought it was a really witty answer. Someone said, the first million words you're going to write are going to be shit anyway. So start writing right now, and then after you get to 1 million words, throw it away, right? Because the first 1 million words, apparently, anyway, it's an interesting story. Anyway, I shouldn't be taking away your airtime. I'm very sorry, guys. Okay, just yank me back in. Okay, so I'm within earshot and I've got the keyword turned on. Okay, so all right, I'm just here. Right back. So who's going to drive? David, you can you take over? There's other people, Mark and Elizabeth and John. Everybody is here. I can see is very interactive and helpful. So I don't think there's any problem. But I think it will be useful if one person coordinate. David, okay?
Sure. I'll do mine first, and then I know Ricardo wanted to go. So that's cool, and then we can go from whoever
Great.
wants to go.
And then meanwhile, Mark and all these other people can also think of nominating, or identifying people who haven't had a chance to, because I know a few of you have had a chance to go already, but please do. Thanks.
All right. Cool. Can everyone see my screen? All
I
good.
can see, I think it's VS Code.
Okay, cool. So this one is one with the operand he wanted us to play around with. So this is an arc length code. So up here you have your function. It's a double. It takes in your radius as an integer, an angle, and then it spits that computation back out for your arc length. Then you have your main function. You declare your radius, your angle, and then it asks you to input those two variables. And then you run that function with those two. And let's see it.
I think my only suggestion would be to change radius from an int, well, probably radius and angle to floats or doubles, just because sometimes they can be fractional.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Can I interrupt for just 1 second? Can I interrupt for a second? Hey, David. So let's play that game that I said. You can't share your screen with code already there. You can only share a blank screen and go from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Because
Do you want me to
otherwise,
just like create a
as
new
long as
one then?
people,
Hang on.
yeah, for some people it's obvious, right? So people who've already been coding for a little while, it's obvious. But there are a lot of people in this class who have absolutely no idea. They're starting to code for the first time, and they see a bunch of code. Rather than and
Wait,
then
so
the
I'm
nice stuff.
sorry, I'm confused because the ask from last class was for us to write our own code within 5 minutes and then present that code
Yeah.
one
I'm
by
saying,
one. So
no,
now
no.
you
Oh,
want
I'm
you
sorry.
want this to be blank, and then now I have to go through live code it.
You have to live code it and talk about it while you're live coding it. Go through your thought process. Because what I'm trying to achieve here is that there is a thought process that a programmer goes through, right? And even the thought process evolves, but it basically settles on some common minima. And if as you learn to program, you are thinking about it aloud, it allows multiple people to basically synchronize their thinking and come together. So we'll all start thinking in the same way.
Okay,
So
so
yeah.
I'll do it this way. So I'll have this blank and I'll just like copy and
No.
paste.
But even don't do that, because then you're referring to this code, right? So I would rather pick a simpler program if necessary. You don't have to don't do this, right? So write another program. So let's say I'll just guide David through this, and if other people can do the same thing, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay. So David, get rid of the left-hand side and just have an open
Okay,
screen.
can I run my program though, at least that I looked up and like
Yeah, absolutely.
tried?
Yeah.
Okay.
Run it. Yeah, I'm sure. That's fine.
All right, you put in your radius. Let's do 33, and then you put in another 45, and it spits that back out for you.
It was very nice. I like this, David. Thank you. My only reservation, as I said before, was that I know this is cool, and I know lots of people know this is cool too. But there are people that are nice to us. Okay, there are a lot of people in class that are nice to us, right? And we just overlook them because they're silent when they see something. When they see a fast thing going, they don't want to get in the way and slow it down, right? By asking a question. And by doing that, they're just nice to us. And if we take advantage of that, we're just not being nice to them. And that's why I say, let's get rid of the left-hand side completely, right?
Okay.
Let's get rid of the left-hand side and say, no, get rid of the code, all that code you have on the left.
It's a bit of a challenge, but
No, that's fine.
I mean, it might be.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing is, we think it's a challenge, right? But there's a lot of people who think it's a challenge and say, well, those people overcome those challenges, but I'm not even able to overcome those challenges, right? What's the point, right? Everybody will become a programmer at some point, I guess. And the whole point here is that you guys will become programmers, absolutely, right? But there are a lot of people who could become programmers. Those are the people that we're interested in, right? Not the guys who are going to become programmers anyway.
Okay, I just want to preface that I don't have programming experience.
No, but that's
I just used the starter code and I just looked at the textbook and I just figured out what worked when I wrote that one.
So what I mean is that means you have a certain commitment to becoming a programmer already, right? Because you're interested, you've gone into the book and you've done these things, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So you figured it out, and so it's easy for you. But all I'm saying is that there are other people for whom they could potentially be fantastic programmers, but they just haven't been, enticed yet. And I don't want to scare them away. That's all. I'm very sorry. I don't mean to be discouraging, right? This is really awesome stuff. And I think you will have a great opportunity to do more than this, right? In just a few lectures from now, you will be able to showcase fantastic programs that you write and bring to class, right? We'll have a chance to do all that. But during the first few lectures, I just want to make sure that, we just don't dive into the Mariana Trench, right? And then people.
I mean, I would say we kind of did with the whole, the mole conversion stuff.
Yeah, no, that was after 10 o'clock. I didn't want to do that before 10.
Okay. All right. So let's start from the beginning. So what kind of function should we try out?
If you're still interested in using the arc length function, I would write down the equation for arc length as a comment.
The equation for arc length as a comment. Okay. So what inputs would it take?
Well, thinking about it.
So you give it the radius and you give it the central angle, and it tells you, it doesn't spit back out the arc length, it just tells you what the actual Or are you just talking
So-
about just like a straight, like just see out,
Well,
this is the arc
I'm
length?
just saying that if you put as a comment the equation, it'll be a lot easier to code it if you can't reference the code that you had before.
I think Mark is saying at the top on line 6, let's insert a small comment describing what this program, what we intend this program to do.
Okay, this program,
Or you're writing a function, right? So you can, so this comment may pertain to your function. You could basically say this function accepts, two parameters, the angle in radians and the radius in meters, and spits out the arc length in meters or something like that, right? So you say what, I think that's what Mark was trying to say, was that we say what we're trying to do so that, everybody will now know, hey, that's, the students who are following you along will know, because sometimes I have to dig into your mind, David, because you've thought about all of this already, and so this is all blindingly straightforward to you. You're not even thinking about the steps now anymore, right? So now you understand what I'm trying to say. So because you've thought about this, you've coded this already, right? That's why I wanted you to pick a different problem altogether, because you've thought about this, and this is all straightforward to you, right? It's very simple. But lots of other people are now encountering this problem for the first time, and so these things will, and because I don't know, maybe it's your age, right? So you tend to go fast, and someone needs to say, "Hey, slow down," because other people also need to march with you. All right, so that's what Mark was trying to say. Just so say put a comment there saying what your function is going to do, and then implement the function. And because Mark said we'll do the arc length, we'll do the arc length. But ideally, each one should just pick a random thing, right? So maybe next year, the next person would say, I'm just going to ask for your name and greet you. Hello, John, or whatever it is, right? So even simple programs like that are fine. All right.
oh, okay. I thought you wanted us to use like the math operators. That's why.
You can if you want.
Yeah,
I'm saying you can. Everybody will get a chance to come on screen and write any program they want. The goal is everybody should have a chance to write a program from scratch, have it compile and run, right? And live. I think doing it live is a huge experience, and I think it's very important. And this is a great chance for you to grab that, right? So this is fine. If you've got a complex program, that's fine. It just has to be done within 5 minutes, and from scratch.
Okay.
And
Well,
at the end of 5 minutes, if you haven't done it, well, you can come back, the next chance, and so on and so
well,
on.
it's certainly been more than 5 minutes. I don't want to take up too much time.
Yeah,
I can have
go
someone
ahead.
else go if that's cool.
You can if you want, but all I'm saying is everybody just do whatever you can, right? So it doesn't have to be a complex program. Just come on screen, write a program. I want to see everybody really be comfortable with coding, right?
Okay.
It's not just a few people, right? That's
How
all.
about this? All right, let's do the 5-minute timer from now. I'll try to write one live so you guys can see how I work through it.
Fantastic.
And then,
Thanks. Thank you.
okay. Let's
So now we have a
do,
pattern and everything.
let's
Everybody.
do triangle. Pretty easy. That's just 1/2 base times height. Base times height. And I know I need to declare. See, the thing that helped me is like there's a main function that your computer runs, and then there's this function that you create yourself. So you have to create that first, and then you run it in your main. When your computer runs it, then it tells that function what to do. So, and it reads it line by line. So you take the first one would be double triangle, triangle. Within that, you need int base. Let's assume that we're not going to take any sort of floating number. So int base, int height. So that argument is 2 parameters, and then you put that in. So you get your curly braces. I would just go cout. 5 times base times.
I think you're gonna return that instead of see out it. So you're gonna return that.
Okay.
Yeah, just for convention in this class, the main function is kind of like the thing that prints all the output, unless we designate a function to do that for us.
Okay.
And if you
So-
wanted to print it out, you should probably make it void instead of double if you wanted to print it out.
But this is for, oh, okay. That also works.
Wait, okay. I thought void was if it just was like not sending anything out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, or go ahead.
so that you can either make it return, and then you would still want to have, like, I would undo what you did to triangle area. And then instead of
Start from
cout, it would be return. Yep.
And then you would take that and you would print it out in your main.
So after you call it in main, you then see it out.
I go to int main. Let's see.
Curly braces.
Braces. Here, input base. Remember the space. We got that. Actually, you know what? I forgot to declare my variable up here. So int will be base and height. So it knows to use those. Now when I tell it that I'm going to be sending it a base, it recognizes that variable because I've declared it up here. And then height, space, put in your height.
Then
That's the command line interaction. And then from here, I will run triangle area, which is the function I've specified above.
And then you need a data type to store that function since it's returned to double.
Okay. Wait, so where should I put that?
So you should put it before the triangle area. So you should just make it
Okay.
like double answer, then make it equal that.
Like that?
Or double, and then your name of the double equals then triangle area.
I'm
Exactly.
setting a variable called answer. And then
Yeah.
that's going
Make
to
it
be
equal
that.
that. And then you
Okay.
can see out answer.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Or the name of your yeah.
Do I need to declare answer up here, or since I'm doing it here?
Since you're doing it there, it gets it already.
Okay, because it's not being used up here, so it's not looking for something.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So that should be fine.
I mean, one of the options you can try is instead of assigning it to like a value called answer, you can just see out the whole triangle area with the base and height directly.
Yeah, that's the way I do it, but I like Chris's idea too, so I want to try it this way also with the return. I was wondering like how do I get the return to show up? So hang on. Let me move my window bar real quick. Okay, and then now I will run this. Maybe compile this. I'll run it. Input base 4 and 5. There we go. 10. Cool. I think that's right over 6 minutes within the 5-minute frame. So if anything else, whoever else wants to go next and give it a shot.
By the way, I just
Just
want to
a
say
call
thank you. It was fantastic. It was really fantastic. Thank you very much, David. That was great. Yeah, it was a
Thanks
pleasure to
for
watch.
the advice, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
I could do one.
Thanks, Ricardo. Wait, was it Ricardo saying that?
All right, cool. Can you hear me?
I can
Yeah.
hear you.
All right. So I was thinking of doing one for power. So if you do, it's gonna ask for two variables. And it's gonna be
Uh,
there we go. And then we're gonna set that to y. And then
Oh, just
all right, so then we wanted to display all right. So we wanted to ask for a number and then ask for an exponent. And then using the power function from math.h, I had to figure out how to use it, which is, I Googled it over here. And then just kind of configure the display. And then if you run it,
I think you forgot the semicolon after power,
afterward,
after the power function. Yeah, you forgot the semicolon after power.
line 22. Yeah, there you go.
thank you.
Also on line 23, you have a space between endline and semicolon. That might become an issue.
23, right there. All right, so let's run it. All right, so please enter a number. So what number would you guys like to do?
5.
5. All right, and then exponent.
Just do 6.
6. All right. There we go.
Cool.
And
I
then if
guess
we
the
want,
only other thing to mention is line 19, you have a space between the output. There's like a space at the very beginning.
over here.
Yeah. And then, oh wait, no, you're over it before. Right there. Wait.
Over?
Like tap right twice and then delete.
Over?
There you go. And when taking input, we typically don't put a new line just because it feels better if it's on the same line. So on 17 and 19, the /n we typically wouldn't include. It's personal preference, I think.
So if we get rid of there, and then there.
Yeah, and then this is pretty much the same as how many of us would write it.
All right. Yeah, I didn't have it originally. Yeah, I guess I should have not included it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's personal preference, right?
Yeah. Because sometimes it could, I guess, for aesthetics too.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all about that end user experience, but it looks good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ricardo. That was nice.
Let me stop sharing. Cool.
I could go next if you guys want.
Yeah, sure.
Just let me get my IDE ready. Okay. Here it is. Sure. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
I can see test.cpp on what appears to be Visual Studio Code.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna make like a guessing game where the user has to guess a number. So I'm just gonna comment that right here. Game. Has to guess number. Okay, and then so it's gonna go in here, and we're gonna use the random function, which just generates a random number, and that is just rand, and then so yeah, we're just gonna make a random number, and then we're gonna ask the user for an input. So we're gonna put that user score input.
Hey, Chris, quick question. Is the random function part, do you know which library that's part of?
I'm not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure you could use it without including anything, unless
Okay.
I'm wrong.
We'll
And then we're
try
gonna
that
see out guess, and then we're gonna see in to user input. So let me try running it in case it's wrong. Okay, cool, it's working. So you don't need any additional library to run random. And then we're gonna have a for loop or a while loop, which I'm pretty sure you guys haven't learned yet, but the professor was mentioning that we should go into branching. So while user input does not equal answer, we're gonna run this, and then we can just put that in. And I think this should work. So let me go ahead and try it out. Do you guys have any questions?
Do you have to? You're gonna put the else statement after,
Well,
or it'll just jump out to return.
so
the-
what I'm saying here is while the user input doesn't equal the answer, you're gonna keep running this. And so as soon as the user input equals answer, it's just gonna break out and just end the program.
Oh, okay. I
And
think
so
you need a semicolon after the while statement or loop
I
right
don't
here.
I
By
don't think
answer.
so.
I guess the only thing I might add is telling a user that they got it right at the end, which
Oh,
might help
true.
with testing as well.
Yeah.
See out. Good job. You won. And then just so I'm not here forever, I'm just gonna see out the answer right here. And just let me do it a new line.
Could you make the answer be in like a range between 1 to 10 or something?
Oh yeah, I could do that. So that would be so you want 1 to 10?
Sure, yeah.
And then +1. And then right here I'm just gonna you guessed the answer. I'm just gonna put the answer down here too. Alright.
It did need the semicolon, I think. Oh no, it's good. Never mind.
All right, so I'm just gonna guess 10, 15, 8, 82, and then the answer's right here. So once I put the answer, it says good job, you won. The answer was 8. Did you guys have any more questions?
Yeah, how is that range works? Why it's the power of 10 minus 1 plus 1?
I'm honestly not quite sure. I just found it on Stack Overflow and it seemed to work. So
I see.
yeah, so I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I know that's how you get the arranged answer. So this would be your the upper bound, and then this would be your lower bound and your lower bound.
I see. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Any more questions?
Looks good.
All right.
Oh, sorry. One
Yeah.
one site that I use to look up what the functions mean. You can go to c++.com and you can open up like the different libraries. So if you bring in a
Oh
library,
yeah. I read that before. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
because
you.
that'll break it down with the sample too.
All right. Thank you.
No.
Who wants to go next? Should I just nominate someone to go next?
May
Yeah.
I try?
Oh, who was it?
This is Jianhao Ye.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Just start sharing screen when you're ready.
Could anyone see my screen now?
We're looking
Yeah, we
at
could
C++
see it.
shells online.
Okay. It is an FTC shell website. I want to make a simple program with dividing two numbers and showing its remainders. Could I though I don't know the correct function of of that line, it is called using namespace std, but I saw everyone type it. I think I need 4 number maybe. But in fact, why is that my C out and seeing is still black or not showing the
I think it's just the website.
Do anyone knows that why is my C out and seeing still showing the same color? Like
I
I think
honestly
it's just
get
the
that
website.
Yeah, I think it's the website.
okay, next.
I haven't gotten that particular one to run. It like lags out.
Yeah, nothing seems wrong, so I think you should be fine.
You may want to, yeah, you caught it. Never mind.
I think your second back quotation mark is using another type of language quotation mark.
My bad.
That is something I never would have noticed.
Do anyone know how to use the function of n-line?
Yeah, so it's just the two less than symbols, and it's just new line or end line. Yeah, and then just end line, yeah, and then semicolon, or just end L.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And then before you run it, on line 17, the remainder is spelled wrong. It's
remainder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And or it's REMMAIN.
Yeah, your A and I are
Yeah.
mixed up there.
There.
Yeah, there you go.
I may try to run it. Before C.
So I think what's going on is
So
you
it should
might need to remove the spaces between your semicolons, and yeah, like before the semicolon you got space, or it could be wrong, but it looks that way to me.
Okay.
Oh wait. Oh, never mind. I'm wrong. It looks like it just works.
I guess at least this is running. So that's it.
Nice. Looks good, man.
8
Thanks, everyone.
is 75, and you've got
Yeah, that seems right.
Thanks for sharing that, Jingyang. Especially since Chris was using rand with the modulus operator, the percent sign, and now Jingyang had a demo in which the percent sign was used. I thought it was very nice. Thanks. Yeah, just like now, right? You should all feel free to code together, and you don't need to know how to code either, right? So you can just come up and say, hey, this is what I want to do. What do I do, right? And there's so many people in class who can basically just talk you through, and you can ask questions, and they'll help you, just like it happened now. So it's a fantastic group. We should just take advantage of that. Yeah, sorry.
So the meaning of the operator of the percentage mark means calculating the remainder, right?
Yeah, it just returns a
Yes.
remainder.
I see, thanks.
Some languages, all it does is tell you if there is a remainder or not.
Would it show at 0 if there is no remainder?
I think so.
I can try it for one other time.
Yeah, it works fine and shows the actual remainder, which is great.
How can I end running and start a new try?
I think you can just press run again, and it should work. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. For example.
What if you put the divisor as a 0? Would it say infinite?
It's really slow.
Yeah. I see.
Oh, that's even
What's happened?
You can write an if statement to say that if it divides by 0 and
as
it's undefined.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's it.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it didn't crash. I'm pretty sure that was a divide by 0 exception. It will throw an interrupt. It's called an exception. It will kill your program usually. It's like a segmentation violation. Or memory, you access something in memory that doesn't belong to you. Again, you get a signal. So this is a signal. It's called a divide by 0. And I'm surprised. I think you even exited with 0 status. I was looking at the CPPSH console, and it said exit status 0, and I was really surprised. This shouldn't really happen. I mean, if someone else goes to another terminal, just share a terminal, we should be able to write something really, really quickly, right? Just in terminal. If someone can share a screen with a Mac, yeah. Just if someone has a Mac, share a screen. I'll show you, right? We'll do that. We'll do something very similar. Raise an exception, just like Chianyi said, right? Either divide by 0 or remainder 0. Either of those, right? If you have 0 in the denominator, it's going to throw that. It's not even it is not a number, right? It's not a number. If it's infinity, that's fine, but you can't say if it's positive infinity or negative infinity. That's the conflict, right? When you divide by 0, that's why it's not a number. It's not a big number. It could be a big negative number too. Who knows, right? Because depending on which direction you approach 0 from. So that's why it's not a number. So that's why it'll throw an exception. So we can try it. So if someone has a Mac and shares a screen, just go into the temp directory. We'll just create a file really quickly by hand, right? Compile it and run it. I'll show you what happens. And I will also take that opportunity to look at the binary and the source code and see what differences and all those things and do some cool things, right? So if anyone has a Mac, care to share a screen? We just go to /temp directory, and then I'll give it back to you, right? And the next person to code can go on. So all that thing, all those things can happen. And then later on I can come back. We can talk about branching and yeah. But so far we can do a lot of stuff without having to do anything that we haven't covered yet, right? We're just using.
Okay. So yeah, I shared the screen because I have a Mac.
Oh, great. Just share the screen and yeah, let's forget about CPP.sh. Just go to terminal, right? So just run terminal and share the terminal screen.
Terminal, like the little application terminal?
Yeah. Or you can just do the pinch in and then type TERM. It'll just select that thing, and then you can run it. And then share that window. You don't have to share the browser.
Okay, hold on.
So just press on command space and then you should be able to write terminal.
Yeah, I did. It's just
command
changing the.
Oh, you know what? Who said that? Chris?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's exactly what it. That's exactly what it did.
I've never used command space.
Yeah, that's what exactly it did.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So let's just go to the temp directory. A temp directory, like I said before, is your global trash can, but not a trash can, right? It's going to be there, but you don't care, right? No, CD is a change directory. So I'm saying some Unixy things here, right? So you don't have to worry about this. Just forget that, right? CD space. That's a CD means a change directory, right? No, we want to go /tmp, right? That is your global temp directory. No, TMP, temp.
TMP?
Yeah, TPP. Yeah, right. So this is your global temp directory. This is a temporary directory where everybody writes their temporary files, including the operating system. Yeah, enter.
All right.
Right. Now you're actually in the temp directory. If you do PWD and enter, you'll see that it says /tmp. Yeah. Right. It'll say /temp. Right. Meaning that's where you are, or that's where the shell. Hit enter. Right. It'll say that's where the shell thinks you are right now. Okay, and in fact, you can see what the temp directory currently contains. You can say list the contents of the temp directory. You can say ls space -l, right? ls space -la. It'll tell you everything the temp directory contains, right? Right now, it only contains those these files. Okay, so we're going to create a file. Let's exception. Yeah, let's call it main.cc, right? Main.cpp, right? So we'll create a file called main.cpp, and no, we'll just create it in a very rudimentary kind of way. Yeah, well, you got to be really careful and typing this. No, actually, you'll try and keep it really simple. All right, so yeah, cat, and then space greater than main.cpp. All right, so this is a very shell Unixy kind of thing. No, actually, it's a greater than sign. I think it's
Okay, greater than sign.
Yeah, greater than sign, and then main.cpp. What that says is run the command called cat, and then take the output, and the greater than sign says the file name on the right hand side. Stuff everything in that file. That's what it says. So what we're
you
going to
put
do
a
is
less
tell
than.
cat. No, it's you said less than instead of greater than. You got to say greater than. So up arrow, just do up arrow. It'll give you the previous command. Yeah, and then backspace, and then turn the less than into a greater than. Yeah, okay. Right now, now everything you type is going to go into that file, and I'll show you. Right. So the first thing we need in a C++ program is going to be the hash include. Right. So without it making any mistakes, carefully type hash include space hash include. We're actually typing in a C program in a very risky way, guys. Never do this on your own, right? So very risky way, meaning, damn, all right. So no, backspace, backspace all the way to the first column, right? One more. All right, hash. I'm glad the backspace works. Okay, so I used to belong to a time when the backspace even didn't work, right? So hash include include, yeah, space, and then less than sign for the angle bracket. IO stream. So this is your template for all your C++ programs, right? Yeah, enter. One more enter. One more enter. Okay, now let's also say, that's fine. Okay, and once you hit enter, you can backspace. That's the issue, right? So until you hit enter, you can backspace. Okay, so using space, namespace, space, std semicolon. All right, enter. Right? You got to say using. All right, I'm glad you didn't press enter. Okay, all right, using namespace. Space std semicolon, right? Yeah, as long as you don't space hit enter, we're good. We can always go back and correct things. Okay, yeah, one more enter, and then we'll start our main, right? Int space main, int space main. All right, and then it not going to take any parameters. Okay, open close parentheses. Yeah, and then space, and then curly brace, and then enter. Curly brace and enter. Okay, enter, because that line is correct, right? You don't need to correct that line anymore. Okay, now let's indent in 4 spaces, right? 4 spaces in. Yeah, okay. Oh wow, we hit the indent key. Okay, and it went 8 spaces. That's fine. Okay. Now let's put a comment there saying // and space. And we're gonna. This is a comment that tells people that go snooping in the temp directory and look at this file called main.cpp. What the hell is this going to do, right? This comment will tell them, right? So I say cause a divide by 0 exception to be thrown. Cause a divide by 0 exception to be thrown.
Wait, cause a divide by 0 to be what?
Exception is called a exceptional situation, some bad thing that happened. Not usually bad, but yeah, usually bad, but not necessarily bad. Okay, exception to be thrown. That's the technical term. Thrown is when you have something bad and you throw it away, right? An exception is a bad thing, you throw it away. Okay, that's what we're going to make this program do. Enter. Okay, and now you can say int n equals 5% 0, right? No, indent in backspace. Yeah, indent in. Yeah, int space n equals n variable.
Oh, n
space equals. Yeah, it's a space equals space is nicer. Okay, yeah, and then 5, whatever number you want, right? Whatever number you want. Yeah, and then space percent, and then what Chanyi said. Yeah, so Chanyi said 0, right? She wanted to know what is 5% 0. Does it say infinity, right? So so we're going to try and find out. Now this should cause an exception to be thrown, and if it was really infinity, it would have said infinity, right? It would say INF, but it's not infinity. It's not a number. That's why it's an exception. All right, semicolon. That's the end. All right, and then you hit a couple of enters, and then indent in and say return 0. That's your main, right? Return 0. All right, 0 semicolon, yeah, enter, and then close the brace. All right, enter. All right, now that's the end of the file. Now the way then a cat. So this cat is a program. Yeah, I'll show you where the program is. Right, the cat is a program on your Mac. It's reading the keyboard and then writing to the console. That's basically what it does. And you can write this too, right? You can write a cat program. Cat is a short form for concatenate. All it does is read the keyboard, and whatever it reads from the keyboard sends to the console. Bam, bam, bam. So it just shunts, right? So it's a concatenator. What we've done is that we'll run the cat program and use a greater than sign to tell the shell, run the cat program, but whatever it sends to the console, don't send it to the console, instead send it to the file. And you've told it this is the file, main.cpp. Now hit Control D. Control D is a signal to cat saying, that's it, I'm done with the keyboard. I'm not going to send you any more information. So Control D, that's the end, right? So traditionally in Unix, Control D is end of file. So hit Control D. All right, good. Now, if you do an ls-l, up arrow 2 times, up arrow 2 times. One more. Yeah, okay, great. Now you'll see that instead of those 3 files, you have 4 files, right? The 4th file is your main.cpp, ls-l, and enter, and you'll see 4 files, and the 4th file is your file, main.cpp. Yes? All right.
So this
Great.
one?
No, the one above that. That's the one you created.
The one above?
Just now. It was created at 9:09 a.m. It was created today, April 15 at 9:09 a.m. And the size of the file is 134, which means it has 134 bytes in it, 134 characters. That's all, right? In the age of media, which is like gigabytes, right? Every photograph is that big. We're talking about a file that's just 134 bytes. Now, you're not even a tweet, right? That's one file. And you can actually cat the file. You want to see what the cat file contains? You can say cat space, cat says cat space, and then main.cpp. And type M and hit tab. Yeah, hit tab. It'll autocomplete for you. Right? Yeah. All right. Enter. It'll tell you what the file contains. That's what you typed in. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's take this program and convert it into a. So this is a English. It's a program that we can read as humans, right? But we want the computer to be able to read this file, not and run this file. The CPU to run this file. And right now it can't. So we want CPU to run, and in order to turn that into from source code, the 134 bytes of source code into binary instructions, 1-byte instructions made of binary numbers that only the CPU can understand. You can't understand that anymore. We're going to use the compiler, and the compiler command is called G++. There's a whole bunch of compilers. We'll use a command that comes pre-installed on most of Macintoshes. I don't know if it's pre-installed. Type G++ and hit enter. G++.
Oh, wait, no, not
enter.
wrong button.
Oh, good. Well, all right. So it actually does enter. It exists. All right. So so this command called it's a GNU C++ compiler. It's open source, and and Mac has taken that and adapted it for Mac, right? So it's called C-line. But G++ is your compiler, which takes your human readable C++ program and turns that into machine code. Now we're going to call G++ and tell it, hey, G++, here is a program called main.cpp, read main.cpp, translate that from this weird English looking C++ language into bits and bytes, right? Which only a CPU can understand. Take those bits and bytes and put it in a separate file. All right, and that file I can tell the operating system to give to the CPU and tell it to run. Okay, that's what we're going to tell the G++. All right, the command to tell that is to say that is G++, right? Space main.cpp. That is the program I'm giving you, right? Main.cpp. Right now, take that. No. Okay. Okay. All right. This is too fast. You're too fast. Oh wow. Okay. So it's not even letting you. It's not even letting you compile. Oh no, it did let you compile, but it's warning you. Okay, all right. So let's do the same command. Hit up arrow again. Don't hit enter. Okay. Now space, right? That's the file you're giving G++, and you want to tell the G++ produce the output in a separate file, right? And you want to give it the name of the file. Let's say that the name of that file is Chris. Okay. So you say -o space -o and then space. Give it any file name you want. Let's call it Chris, right? So, or something, right? So you say Chris. All right. Now, if you hit enter, it'll read main.cpp. It still give you a warning because it's a warning. And it says you're trying to do something that's going to result in not a number. And I don't have a data type that stores not a number. Take a look at that, right? So C++, there is a data type to store anything, right? You can store integers, floats, double precision numbers, characters, pointers, but you don't have a data type to store not a number. Right, this is really strange, isn't it? Anyways, that's what it's saying, right? So
wait, can you repeat that?
Hmm?
What do you mean you can't store without a number?
Yeah. It is saying that you're trying to do something here. You're trying to divide 5 by 0 to take the remainder, right? It is saying you're trying to do something which is going to result in not a number, and you're trying to assign it to a number. Does that make sense? It takes a little while to settle.
Yes,
really.
it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. But you know, when it takes a little while to really impact it, right? Because on the right-hand side, you don't have a number, but on the left-hand side, you have a number. And you're trying to take this and assign it to that. So that is the job of a compiler. The compiler is tasked with saying, is everything syntactically correct, and is or the assignment's okay, right? If you're taking A and trying to assign, if you're taking apple, assigning it to an orange, that's not going to work, right? So this is not a number, that's a number. So, and the compiler picked that up, but still the compiler is nice to us and says, well, I'm just warning you, you're trying to do something really strange, but I can't see how that could possibly make sense. So it's a warning, but if from here on it's your problem. Now let's try and run it. All right. So no, before you run it, hit ls-l, up arrow a few times until you get the ls command. Yeah. All right. Now you'll see 5 files there. 5 files. Yeah, enter 5 files. All right. So you see this file that we just called
like the 909, the one from 909, then 913, 94, the 2 at 914.
Yeah. And then you have this file called a.out. And the reason, that's the reason I said to Chris, don't hit enter, because if you hit enter before giving the output file name explicitly, the compiler G++ thinks, well, you know, I've been asked to compile something, but I have not been told what to put the output in. I'll just say, make up a name called a.out, right? So it always makes up a name and it's called a.out, right? If you don't give it a name, it's going to put the compiled output in a.out. In fact, it's exactly the same file. It's 16,536. That's the size of the file. And in fact, if you look at that file, it's all binary. It's ones and zeros now. It is the main.cpp, right? 134 bytes. What we expressed in 134 bytes of English-looking C++ has been translated into CPU language. And in CPU language, it is not 134 bytes anymore. It is 16,536 bytes of instruction, right? Now instruction data and all those things, but it's now that. And you can, I wish I can show you, but let's run it, right? Let's run that file ./Chris, right? It's a dot means it's the current directory, and run the file called Chris in the current directory. That's what we're saying. And it ran with no error. Run again. Yeah. It ran again. I don't know if you hit Control C or hit enter. Run again. Hit enter. Wow, it ran with no error.
Isn't Chris just the
because you're not
output?
doing anything. So it should have thrown an exception. Turn the percent into a divide. You know, turn the percent into a divide. N equals 5 divided by 0. Oh, you can. Let's. All right, we have to enter an editor now. Okay, we got to. Do you know how to use any editor at all on the command line? Or I can show you how to do it. Right. So you just do vi./Chris. Vi./. Yeah. Or Emacs. Or I don't know. Yeah, actually do. Yeah, vi is easier. All right. So you enter. Okay. No, not dot. Escape colon Q. Escape colon Q. Right? This is crazy commands. Don't try to remember these. Right?
Q.
Yeah, enter. Okay. Now up arrow again. .cpp. We forgot the .cpp. You remember now?
Between the vi.Chris and.
Oh, main.cpp. Sorry, main.cpp.
Where do I put it exactly?
Yeah, instead of Chris, main.cpp.
Okay.
We were trying to edit main.cpp. We went to Chris, right? But Chris is actually the compiled version of main.cpp, which only the.
Do you still put the /?
No, VI doesn't need it. Yeah, it's only the shell. All right. Okay. Now you want to go to that line there. So the way to navigate in VI is really strange. Okay. So I think it's K to go down. No, is it K? How do you do?
Right now it's arrow keys for me.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. If arrow works, that's fine. I actually have arrows too. Right. Yeah. Turn that into a slash. And then also after that. Oh, I see. I got to show you how to do that. Escape out of that. All right. So I think go forward. Yeah, that go over the percent. No, that way. All right. I think you can hit. No, one more time. And then hit the backspace. Hit X. You know, I've not used VI for a long time. Okay, great. And now you want to hit I for insert. I for get into insert mode. You see, yeah, okay. Now hit a slash divide. Okay, all right. Now you can save this file, right? You can save this file. Hit escape, and then colon. And then you want to write the file and quit. So you say WQ. I don't even know why I remember these things. Right? Totally. WQ. Yeah. Okay. All right. Q. All right. Yeah. Enter. All right. Now, if you cat the file, you say cat main.cpp, you'll see the changed file. Right? Yeah. Main.cpp, you'll see the changed file. Right, so there's the percent has been changed. Yeah. Don't try and remember these commands at all. Okay, so I like the Men in Black. I'm trying to unremember these commands, right? So with that pen. All right. Okay. Good. Now, actually, I wanted to do one more thing, but let's not worry about that because what I wanted to do was, maybe the error is happening there, but it's returning immediately, so it got optimized out or something like that. So if we had a cout line under that, right, saying, oh, there was an error. Exception, but there was also a cout after that. We can see if the cout happened, but don't worry about that. Now you can try that in your own time. Yeah, compile it and run it. So up arrow until the G++, up arrow a few times until you get G++. Yeah, enter, and then yeah, of course, yeah, and then up arrow until you run the command, or you can just say /Chris, right? /Chris, that's fine. /C and tab will do it. Yeah. I'm really surprised. I'm surprised that it is not throwing an exception because that really ought to result in a divide by 0 exception. Because I say this because later on in CS2B, if you get the taste, if you get bitten by C++ and you become want to know more and you enroll in CS2B, you're going to create a data type of your own, right? Right now you have characters and integers. Signed integers, unsigned integers, a few of those. But later on, CS2B, you're going to say, well, I got these things, they're not enough Lego blocks for me. I need some more sophisticated Lego blocks because there's these frameworks that I'm building that need more than just ordinary integers. I want complex numbers, right? Or rational numbers, right? So if you are going to define a data type just like int, like int, you may define a data type CPL for complex numbers. Right, and then you're going to instantiate these things, and in complex numbers, you are going to create an exception because in complex numbers you can have you can take the reciprocal of 0, right? Why is reciprocal so hard to say, right? Reciprocal of 0, and that should cause an exception, and you're going to throw the exception. And so when you divide by 0, it should throw an exception, and I'm not sure why that's not happening. Maybe my knowledge of C++ needs to be brushed up, or maybe we should Google that and find out at some point. But that should really cause an exception because just do a VI of, I'll show you what will happen if you do an exception, right? So, and this is something which you won't encounter until week 10, right? So we're going to do something to this code, so don't even worry about it if you don't understand what we're doing. But remember what happens, because this exact same thing will happen again in week 10. Week 10, we're dealing with pointers because we're going to force an exception to be called. We're going to force something bad to happen so that we at least know, right? That could happen. Okay, so let's go vi./Chris. Actually, let's do Emacs, right? Because let's do hit enter Emacs ./Chris. That's actually easier, I think, because I don't have to go these weird commands now. Emacs, yeah, Emacs, and EMACS, CS. That's another editor, right? That's another editor which is now bundled with all these Unix systems, right? Emacs space ./Chris. This is the editor I use. It's harder to get to use initially, but once you get to use it, it's easier, right? Yeah, no, not Chris. Main.cpp. Yeah, tab should autocomplete for you automatically. Oh, you don't have any. All right, let's do VI. Let's do VI. Before I forget what we were supposed to do, what we're trying to do. Yeah, force an exception to happen. Okay, all right, good. All right. All right, so go down arrow until until the before the comment, right? Before the comment, go to the previous line after the brace, after the X. Dollar hit dollar takes you to the end, to the next line, to the next line. Whatever it is, down arrow to the next line, down arrow. Now hit I. Now, no, I hit A for append mode. Escape and A. Escape. Go back to the. All right, backspace. Get rid of the A. Get rid of the A. Yeah, X. I'm gonna go over the A and hit X to get rid of it. X. Okay. Now hit A. Now hit A. Okay, good. All right, so I still remember apparently. Okay, so now you're in the same as insert mode, but it's gone to the end of the line. Now hit enter, enter. All right, now tab in and let's type one more comment. Tab in. All right, say cause a pointer exception to cause a memory. Yeah, no, comment again. No, hopefully all this is useful, right? Because even though we're doing things in tab in a different setting to what we're doing, I hope this is all useful, because otherwise I won't be going into the detail here, because I think it rounds out the programming experience to know different ways in which you can create the same thing, right? And this is exactly what's going on, right? Even if you use something like Visual Studio or Xcode, at the bare bones, this is what's going on. And Visual Studio and Xcode, they're basically just providing some sugar, like M&Ms, right, over the thing, right? And it's called syntactic sugar. Make you hide away the details, all of that, right? What Chris is doing by hand is actually being done every time you write a program. Your Xcode or Visual Studio or it's taking that code and doing everything we're doing by hand. It's just hiding it away from you. That's all, right? Now by doing this,
all this should be compiler dependent.
This is I'm sorry, compiler dependent.
Yeah, like does it whether or not it throws an exception or crashes your code
no, that is what I'm not yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Mark. I thought the specific places where exceptions should be thrown were part of the language specification itself, and therefore built into all the compilers. But apparently I'm mistaken, or at least I don't know if a divide by zero should cause an exception to be thrown, right? A fatal exception. This is worth Googling to find out, right? This is worth Googling to find out, because it seems to me like such a fatal error right? So it will cause another kind of serious exception, which I know for sure is going to cause an exception. So that's what I'm trying to find out here. It's really an experiment, right? Say, look, I don't know something, and I'm trying to experiment to find out, right? And this is exactly the same thing you can do too. There's lots of things you will find out just by experimenting really quickly. So here, insert a comment, right? Two forward slashes, cause a memory exception, cause a memory exception, right? Say space, cause a memory exception. And now we'll also do this other thing that I wanted before, right? So now hit enter after that and say, let's declare an array of, let's declare an array of integers, right? So tab in, and this is all syntax you'll find familiar later on, okay? So int space x of, let's say 1, right? Two elements, put this around 2 elements, x space, square bracket, 2, close square bracket, 2, and semicolon, right? What that basically did is gave us an array called x, right? Array is 2 contiguous integers in memory, right? So that's what it's given there, right? So enter. Now what we're going to do is, even though it's given us only 2 cells, I'm going to access the 3rd cell, right? The 2 cells are x of 0, x of 1. They're the 2 cells they've given to us, right? For free. That's been given to us. We're going to try and say, hey, you only gave me 2 cells. I'm going to access something that was not even given to me. That doesn't belong to me, right? From out there. So we can say, I'm going to access that. So we say tab in, yeah, and say x of 3, right? X space 3 equals, it's a square bracket open, and then 3 inside the square brackets. 3 and close, equals, I don't know, put some number there, 10 or whatever, right? 10 semicolon, and then on a comment on the right hand side, right? Says 10, yes, space a few times, hit space a few times, and then say forward slash, a couple of forward slashes, assign to a location in X that doesn't belong to us. Right? Assign to location in X that doesn't belong to us. Right, so just in case someone comes in to look at this code, they'll know, right? Okay, so that should cause an exception to be thrown, right? Enter. Okay, now if you compile this, so escape colon WQ, right? Escape colon WQ is basically write the file and quit. WQ, enter, right? Now your main.cpp has this, I wanted to put this other thing saying, print something to the, let's forget about that now, right? So compile and run it. Let's see if it actually causes an exception to be thrown, right? Why is it not causing an exception to be thrown? For divide by 0. Well, at least for this, it should throw an exception, right?
So if you look at the chat,
G+ is gone. Where's the G++ line? Gone? Not in your history anymore?
All right.
Hey, Turkey, you have a question.
It's not a question. I tried to test dividing by 0 in my console and it just gave me an infinity. So I'm wondering if this is why it's not triggering an
Hey,
error.
how did it
Maybe
give you an infinity in your console?
it gave me in.
No, which console are you talking about? The Chrome console?
I'm using my terminal in Windows through Xcode.
And the console lets you compute like that?
It gave me an inf when I asked it to do it now.
Oh, I see. Well, it's strange, right? Because 1 over divide by 0 is not an int. It's not infinity, right? Unless by infinity they mean not a number. Infinity is a big number.
Maybe because I made the number a float before printing it, so it wasn't even an integer. It was just a float.
Yeah, but I'm surprised, right? Turkey, there's a very good experiment. Even Xcode, right? It's supposed to throw an exception there, not give you infinity. Because divide by 0 is undefined, right? It's not a big number. Yeah, enter, Chris. Yeah. Now, yeah, good.
Head on. Can I just highlight something here?
So yeah, sure. Go for it.
There's a discussion on Stack Overflow, and someone is citing Wesley, a textbook from '94, The Design and Evolution of C++. It says low-level events such as arithmetic overflows and divide by 0 are assumed to be handled by a dedicated lower-level mechanism rather than by exceptions. This enables C++ to match the behavior of other languages when it comes to arithmetic. It also avoids the problems that occur on heavily pipelined architectures where events such as divide by 0 are asynchronous.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark, for looking that up. Okay. Again, goes to show that all these decisions that we see. Sometimes we see these things in when we're coding, right? And we think, why would anyone do this? This is a really stupid thing to do. But just like Mark did, what we find out is no, it's not a stupid thing to do. Everybody knew that was really inconvenient and not the right way to do it, but it was still done that way despite knowing all the issues because of these. It was a well thought out decision, right? It was a conscious decision to do it that way, despite people knowing that that's not the right thing to do. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And yeah, I didn't know. I would have assumed that it should be not divide by 0, etc. Thank you so much. By the way, why is it? What's going on here? Oh, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So the compiler G+ is so intelligent. So much is these errors, warnings didn't even used to be part of the compiling experience even 10 years ago, right? Now they're flagging all these little things. They're saying, hey, you're assigning to array index 3, but this array only has 2 elements. That's essentially what the compiler is telling us, right? So index 3 is past the end of the array, which contains 2 elements, which is so user-friendly, right? C++ never used to be known for giving user-friendly error messages in the past, as many of our students find out, right? And this message is so user-friendly. It says, all right, let's run it and see if we get an exception. Because that should definitely create an exception and consistent with what Mark just found, right? No, you already compiled it. You just need to run it. So find the / Chris. Yeah, enter. Okay, all right, good. All right, see that caused an exception which was trapped, right? And it said, that when you ran that program, you accessed something that didn't belong to you. You got an exception. You were killed by the exception, and so
so something like this should have happened.
Yeah, I was hoping, not hoping, I was expecting, right? Not a hoping. I was expecting this to happen with a different kind of a signal, not 6, right? Some other signal. Because I can show you, right? If you go to some include file, it'll tell you what that 6 means. 6 means you are trying to access memory that didn't belong to you, right? Maybe 25 means that you try to divide by 0. But obviously that's not what happened, and Mark went and found out why, right? So why it didn't happen? Because doing that is probably the right thing to do, but because if we did that, we'd have to make compromises on the pipelining architecture, which is gives far more serious wins, right? And so we say no, we'll live with that, and hope the program has good sense and doesn't do that. So those are things we learn to appreciate. And look up, like Mark did, right? So then look up and then say, hey, that is the reason, right? Rather than just dismissing it. There's so many things we'll encounter every day, even though you've been programming 20, 30 years, you do something, they will say, hey, why is it done this way, right? Why? And then rather than dismiss it, saying, well, probably the programmer wasn't thinking right that day, or had a bad day, that's less likely to be the case, especially the old programs, right? Because it's not one programmer. It's like 15, hundreds of programmers, right? Hundreds of intelligent people having encountered the exact same situation, having dismissed it as saying, well, someone had a bad day and it did it that way. Unlikely to happen, right? Because they would have fixed it. They didn't fix it. Oh, maybe 2 people had a bad day. 3 people had a bad day. No, unlikely, right? So many brilliant people have seen it and let it pass. That means there must be a good reason for it. So you think back, that means that reason must be a really juicy reason, right? Good reason by itself is not good enough. It's good and juicy, right? All good reasons are juicy. So it's worthwhile trying to find out, right? Like and go to Stack Overflow or look at why it was done that way, and then we discover these little gemstones, and so that's really cool. So thank you. I hope this experience was really cool, right? Because what we did here was it took a very innocent question that Tianyi asked, and saying, hey, what happens in, it actually was Isaiah or someone, right? So divide by 0 instead of and turn that % 0, and say, does it say infinity? And in fact, Turkey actually found out it actually does say infinity, right? It's he did an experiment and found that in his console, it actually says infinity. I was thinking that in the JavaScript console, it said infinity, right? Because in Chrome, you can hit Command-Shift-J and get the JavaScript console in Chrome. And in the JavaScript console, you can basically just write there, because it's an interpreted language, right? You can type in code and have it run right in front of your eyes. So you can type in x/2 right there, 5/2 in the JavaScript console, and it'll tell you 2.5, bam, like that. So I wonder what would happen in that console if you went and typed 5/0, right? Does it say JavaScript exception raised? Or does it say 5/0? Because in JavaScript, they don't have the same pipelining compromises to make, right? So they could have done it differently and say, in JavaScript, we'll throw an exception for divide by 0. Well, it depends, or in Python or some other language. So it's with and then finding out why does it throw an exception here and not there, right? In this language and not that language, right? It's not like these people are stupid and those people are not. No, the different kinds of compromises made, right? This language is suited for something else, designed for something else. This is designed for something else, right? Not like I only know one language, I'm going to use it for everything, right? So then people will start complaining, right? It should be throwing an exception, it's not throwing an exception, right? Or it shouldn't be. And because they're not using the right tool. It's like taking a chisel and trying to build a computer and saying, no, this chisel is really bad. It doesn't let me build a computer. No, it's just used to build a monument, not a computer. All right. Anyway, enough of waffling on and on. Yeah, we still got about 10, 15 minutes left. I should basically hand it over back to you guys. I'm sure other people have questions to ask and code to write. Just keep it within what we've already learned, without going too much into branching today. We'll do branching next class. Yeah, it's okay. We have a lot of time, right? We'll do branching, looping, all of those things next class. Hopefully, someone else who was not gone before. I don't know. Ooh, everybody's had a chance so far. Maximum. Oh yeah, every single one of us. Oh, Yan hasn't. Yan and then Ray. Yan and Ray. You're the only 2 people who haven't had a chance. And Turkey also hasn't had a chance. I don't know, Jacqueline. I vaguely remember Jacqueline. Did Jacqueline code last quarter? Last class? You were on screen last class. Yeah, you were. Did you code? I forget. I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't code. Maybe anyway. There's 3. We got 3 people. And maybe also Isaiah, who didn't get a chance, if someone else can volunteer to take screen, because I haven't thought of a way to share his screen yet, okay? If your computer is a reasonably fast computer, install Zoom on it, right? It's on your computer. And at some point, oh, you're muted. I can't even hear you now.
My bad. I have my headset on. I didn't. I have.
Well, think about it. Not for this class. We only have 15 minutes left, right? No, not this class. But think about it. See if you can get Zoom installed on that computer.
No, I have it. It just doesn't have a video. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I can share screen, but it doesn't have a video. I'm using the video on my phone. But that's
what I meant. Over the weekend, see if you can get Zoom installed on your computer. Oh, but it doesn't have a camera. You're saying it doesn't have a camera. Yeah, but that's fine. You can share your screen. You can share your screen, right? that's what you were trying to say from the beginning, and I'm so sorry, Isaiah, right? Yeah, finally I understood what he was trying to say, right? He has a screen he can share, but is that okay? But share, can you share the audio and can you share the audio and the screen from here? Yeah, we don't need the video, right? So you can switch off the video. When you see
you're muted again.
Yeah. Anyway, when he's done, while he's talking to the other person. But anyway, there's 4 of you, right? There's 4 of you. You can take the screen now, or even next class. That's fine, right? I'm actually glad. All of us, everybody's had a chance to take the screen and drive. And this is also a very interactive bunch. And that's why I'm not so so concerned about your lack of participation in Reddit, but although you should be participating in Reddit too, right? I am, although concerned about the lack of participation in 2B and 2C. If you're doing the 2B and 2C, you got to be very, very active on Reddit, right? And talk about these things. 2A, but you're all in class. I'm so happy to see your smiling faces every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'm so grateful for that already. And you're also interactive and participating and interested in the subject, right? Because ultimately that's what every teacher wants, right? It doesn't matter if you're all going to be coming here faithfully doing all the exercises and homework and saying and following my every word, right? And saying, if I say do this and you do that, I just retire tomorrow if that's the case, right? There's no point. So every teacher really is what they're looking for ultimately is, they know something really cool and they don't want that to die with them. Essentially, I don't know if maybe that's the force that's driving, right? So once you get to know something that's really cool, and you say, wow, this is so cool. I hope other people also know this, right? The more the better, right? So that's why all programmers, all artists really, they want to share the way of doing their things with as many people as possible, right? I don't know. It's just valuable. It's interesting. Anyway, I haven't taken too much of your time and blabbering on and on. My camera is not even switched on. sorry, bad manners. Okay, all right, good. So I'll just give it back to you guys now. Feel free to take over after 10 o'clock if you have something that is not directly related to class. I'm happy to. I got a few minutes, right? So I can come back and talk like last class about Avogadro's number and so on. But otherwise, feel free to take off or yank me back in. Last 5 minutes, that's fine. And if there's any questions, especially, right? I'm happy to talk about those things. Right? Otherwise, I'm just going to be around. Just call out to me, right? So call out to me.
Are we going back to programming?
What chapters are we on in the book, if I may ask?
Actually, I don't know. I've never. I've never read the book fully.
Wait, what?
Meaning that I typically use it as a reference if necessary. Even that I've stopped doing now that you can find most of the answers just online. What you can do is someone posted on our subreddit, someone posted an online version of the book, free, right? And it's a PDF file, and I checked, right? I downloaded the file, and then I checked that Control F or Command F works in the file. So if you want branching statements, right? If you want to know about branching statements, if you go to that table in the blue table in the syllabus, it tells you the topics that we're supposed to cover every week, right?
Yes.
Right.
Of course.
Take that word, and then type it into Control F in that file, and then type that word, and then
and then just correlate.
I know it's even better than that, right? It brings up a table of contents on the left. Right on the left, it brings up I don't know which viewer you're using, Adobe PDF or something like that. It brings up a table of contents where every single location in that book which has that word is highlighted.
Okay.
Right, and then it also does some ranking to see if if this is a heading, it brings it up at the top, right? So if you want a branching, and its branching heading will be at the top, so you can see it's really cool. And you can also share that with other people because I don't know, right? I don't know if you found something. Say, hey, if you go, this search works in that book, or this page, whatever. You can share URLs. I think these are hot bookmarkable. So I would appreciate that. I do have the link to Michael's previous lecture modules. I'm just if he gives me permission to post those, I can post those absolutely. But still, it's previous. It's dated. It's like from 5 or 6 quarters ago. The old material. But it's the same. C++ hasn't changed, right? It's like mathematics hasn't changed, right? So it's the same. But still, he's made some revisions, right? He's made a bunch of revisions. Maybe errors. He's fixed a few things. So yeah, mine is probably out of date too. But if he gives me permission, I will share that. Absolutely. Right? Otherwise, it's not like we're not. It's the end of the world. It's really cool. It's his material is fantastic, right? It's because he's basically distilled all the essential parts out of the book into modules, so that you don't have to use the index and do what Isaiah just said. Using the index and searching. You don't have to do that. But it's 5% more work.
Looks
See,
like we
if
got
he gives us
about
permission, I'll share that.
15 Looks like we got about 15 minutes. Are we gonna keep going and have people code, or is it time for questions, or what's the remainder of the time for?
This one. Just empty.
All right, call out to me if you want me to come back. Right, thank you all, guys.
Okay, so who's next? Any volunteers?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Great, thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, and I'm looking at pungentable models on replit.com.
Yeah. I'm gonna write a simple code for even or number.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Let me think. Oh. How do I without going to the next line?
You can just put the semicolon after the quotation marks.
Semicolon after the quotation mark.
If that's where you're getting, if you're gonna have like the input right after that, a lot of times we don't put the new line.
Yeah, so how, oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so just put the C in on the,
yeah.
There you go.
Thanks. And C, and okay.
It's CN without the T.
In, oh, without T, okay.
Yeah. And then at the top, before the function, use put using namespace std.
Oh, yeah. Is that how we
It'd
do
be
it?
using space, namespace. Sorry, not the word space, but like a physical.
Oh,
like
space.
press the
Okay.
keyboard
Space.
spacebar. rather.
Okay.
And it's instead of name, it'd be namespace, the
Namespace.
word space.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks. See. How do we
You could put input there if that's the variable you want to hold the input.
I'll just put input and then semicolon.
Yeah. Be right back. I have a call.
And then the two.
And then you want to determine if the input is even or odd, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that? Or do you have an idea of how to do it?
Yeah, if the remainder is 0.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Then I'll see out. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So who's next? Shit.
I can go next.
Okay.
All right, I'm using share my screen.
Thanks, Jan.
Yeah. How do I? Okay.
Jan, when you get the chance, you might want to stop sharing screen.
Yeah. I'm figuring out how. Okay. I saw because I'm having 2 screens. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm mixing it up. Yeah. Okay.
You got it. I wasn't seeing gallery view. Who said there? Oh, okay, never mind.
All right, so I'm gonna do the statement.
Include IO space. Probably want. Oh.
Using the space. So I'm gonna declare variable.
Do we put the semicolon after the main function?
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna.
Oh yeah, I think that's wrong. So I'm gonna make create a game where it declare like there's a random variable and random number. There's a player and a dealer, and whenever there's gonna be a range and you're gonna call a number, and after you call the number, there's gonna be a comparing, and there's a number like 21. If you're closer, then you won. But if the dealer is closer to the number, then the dealer won. That's basically what I'm trying to write here. And I'm gonna count the time like I won and the time that dealer won. So this is P is like player, and at the beginning it's 0, and for dealer the beginning is 0, and this is how many time we played. All right, so I'm gonna so actually I don't really know what this do, but we'll see. This is to record the time passed. Every time you play, there's +1 time. Every time you run, there's going to be +1. And so player has to give a number. And for dealer, we're going to generate a number, like a random number for him.
Do you know what the range of the dealer's numbers should be?
Between 0 and 100.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So this is another way to write like the range.
I think there's an extra left parentheses there on
Oh, yeah.
line 14
But that's
before
for,
the rand.
Before where?
Line 14
Sorry,
before the word rend, I think there's a left parentheses that is going to trip you up.
Oh, I didn't close it.
Line 12.
Okay, yeah, that'll work, I guess.
Sorry, I have a question.
What's your question?
So for line 10, what is the 4 and the 2 semicolon means?
It's like an if statement, I think.
For loop is a
I'm not
control
really
structure, and what happens is you have 3 numbers that you're supposed to provide at the beginning, the end, and the increment. Let me just make sure that's true. Yeah, so it's the initial number, the end number, and then how much it increases each time by.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, we haven't really broken out the control structures yet because that comes after the branching, which we also haven't covered.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's like similar in Python, like for, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm just gonna keep going. So I'm gonna use the if statement. So this is a comparing formula. Like you need to compare the absolute value. And we're gonna set the number to 21. So whoever is closer to 21, you won. And then this is an if statement. So I have to put curly. My number is, I'm going to show it. Let's see that. So this is when dealer win. So he's gonna call out his number and like declaring that he win. And this is for counting the time he won. Like every time he win, there's gonna be d+1. So at the start it's 0, and then after like every time he win, there's gonna be 1 and then 2. Like it's around like, all right. And then we're gonna do if player win. So it's if, and then it's else if, the other like two kind, like if, and then the next one is else if. Absolute player. And just the opposite of the one here.
Yeah, I think the three cases you have to think about is greater than, less than, and equal to.
Yeah, and if the player insert like the right number, like the exact number 21, then we're just gonna end it and we're gonna count the total, like how many time dealer win and how many time like the player win. So we're gonna see out. And then we're gonna count the time player win to. So this is p equal to p plus 1. I'll have to close it. And then, yeah, and the time when, if it's like 21, so it's 2 equal because it's declaring s, it's not like equal, it's is. So we have to use 2 equal sign here. And then, so we're gonna conclude the result. We're gonna like see out all of the result here. And this is what we got. We got the T here, where we like record every time that, like every time we play a game. And then we're gonna record the time dealer when. Dealer one. And then it's P. And then I think this is enough. So we're gonna end the if statement. We're gonna put break to show that it ends here. Otherwise, you're gonna keep going back. I think this is like 4, right? For
yeah, for your for loop, if you don't put numbers between those semicolons,
this is
you're
like
going
a
to have
loop,
issues.
right? For yeah, remember it. It's for like a loop. So this is like the break of it. It will end here after this statement. Let me check if there's any problem. All right, so this is the end of 4. This is it. Main. So return, I guess return 0. And I think this should work. Let's try it. So I'm just gonna, let's try 21 first. Yeah, so this is the number of dealer's number. And this indicates that I win because I'm closer to 21. And below it's the scoreboard. Like we played one time and dealer won 0 and I won. Oh shit, I spelled it wrong. And then I won 1. And we can try other other thing. Like if we give like a super big number, I think we'll definitely lose. So his number is wait, it's always 41 though. Is there a problem with that? Oh yeah, the number changes. So the number is a random number from dealer. So we can keep playing until we guess the number 21, and it will record the number we played at the end if you insert 21. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all of it. All of my code. Do you guys have any question?
I have a question. So if we notice that the f function at line 16 and line 21, I noticed that you checking the value of the player minus 21, and the same thing for the dealer. I'm wondering if you can just remove the 21 because it's still equal the same. Would that change anything?
You mean like minus 21? You mean remove
Yeah,
21?
minus.
So if you're doing that, you're just comparing the value of two numbers. But if here we're doing is we're trying to find the number closer to 21. Whoever is closer to 21 wins the game.
Oh, I see. The closer to 21, so you can count the steps by. Okay, I see.
So if we do that, then we cannot end the game. So the condition to end the game is when you call the number 21, and it will pop out the scoreboard here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is like for loop and if statement. And there's a little concept about random number generating. If there's no question, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Wait, why does 4 have the 2 semicolons in the parentheses?
Can you say that again?
In 4, it has 2 semicolons. So if you go down past int, that one.
Yeah, just like this. I don't know why, but it's how you use it.
Okay.
Me, Mark can explain. I don't really understand.
All right. Thank you.
So I know a lot of people left. I just want to mention that I think Sunday quiz 1 is due. It's just data representation. There's no coding involved, so just get used to the stuff in modules. I think Turkey said he was gonna go next. So he's down here. Or did he go real fast? I can't remember. Hey, David, you went today, didn't you?
Me? Yeah.
Okay. So I think the only one maybe left is Andrew, but I can't remember if they went yesterday or not. So I got about 12 accounts logged in. Looks like.
I have some questions. It's out of class. It's about the course setting. Is that okay? If nobody else wanna share the code.
Hey, Anand, are you there?
So, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I was just trying to see if Anand's there.
Oh,
since-
yes. I'm sorry, I'm here. I was hitting the spacebar, but my Zoom was not my front app. So yeah. Go ahead. Someone had a question for me?
Yeah, 3 questions about, I'm still confusing about, I sent you an email yesterday. First is where can I check for the deadline for each quest?
Oh, I see. Yeah. You can actually ask this in the forum, but however, we don't have other students in the forum, right? I'm not doing an online section, so in class is just as good. Does anybody know the answer to where the deadlines for the quests are? Yes, Mark.
I think isn't the quests, isn't it that they don't really have a deadline, but they have a freezing out time?
Yes.
They're on the calendar.
Yes.
Right.
Have you? Can you locate it, Chanyi? So while we're talking, just try and locate it in the syllabus. It's called a freeze date. The first freeze date and the second freeze date. Okay. You had one more question in your email, which is how can I tell how many points, how many trophies I've had in all the in the quests I've done so far? Yes. Is that a question you had? Okay. Does anybody know the answer to that? How can you check your current?
Yeah, I'm actually going to post it as soon as I.
Right, Mark is going to post a link in chat right now.
Yeah.
I know the link, but I don't know which number to put in.
All right. So what is the number you can put in there?
So the number you put in there is your student ID that you get from Foothill when you log in.
Yes, it's usually your student ID, any ID that you submit with. You know, when you submit your code to the questing site, at the top, you put your student ID in comments. Anyway,
Could you explain it
look at the
again?
title spec. Look at the first spec. It'll show you the template of the file that you have to submit. At the top of the file, you have to say / student ID 2019, something like that.
So is the trophies means the score I get from the first, like the tiger names Franks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but why I put my student ID and it says I am having 0 profits?
You are putting your student ID in the source code and you're still getting 0 on the /Q site?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a different problem, Chanyi. You know, that's a different problem because it's a very common problem. Lots of people have the same problem, right? They say, I've put the student ID, but I don't see the score on my on the /Q site, right? If that's a question, you should totally, it's been asked 100 times and it's good to ask that question, okay? It's because what Mark is demonstrating right now is most students just do a scan and copy and paste from this file into your source code. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Copy that, Mark. Are you on a Mark? Mark, are you on a Macintosh?
I am on a PC and I'm also on the wrong QGet spec.
Oh, I said, no, that doesn't matter. All I want to show is that when you've copied and pasted, when you copied that into your clipboard, it doesn't have those. It has a lot of invisible characters. It has a whole bunch of invisible characters that contaminate your student ID, but you don't see it. Between the 1 and the 2, there are some funny characters. It's not in Unicode. It's in Unicode, right? And what I wanted to say was, if it was a Mac, I can go to terminal and I can show you exactly where those funny characters are. So to save yourself the headache of not running into these invisible characters, don't copy and paste. Just type it in by hand. Right, in your source code, in your hello.cpp or any file that you submit into the questing system, type that line by hand. Just say 2 / student ID : space and then 8 numbers. Type it in by hand. Don't copy and paste. When you copy and paste, you have invisible characters, and then your student ID will not get credited for those points. So those invisible characters get those points. Yes or no? Chanyi, you look confused.
Yeah, because I think my format is correct. I used my hand typing. / space, student ID space, a student space ID, comma, space, and then my student
not
ID.
Comma, colon, not comma.
Oh, sorry.
Colon?
I used.
Type it in?
I used comma. Sorry.
Good. No, that's fine. If you typed colon, just go to the /Q site and then enter exactly that student ID into the /Q site. You should see the result.
May you share your screen to show your operation, because I'm also confused about it. Thank you so much.
I see. Well, we got to use an ID that doesn't belong to anyone, so that nobody's ID is given away. Usually, what people do is type in 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. People type in 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Lots of people type that ID. Yeah, type enter. Okay, I see 2 people have already submitted quests using that ID, right? Some fake ID. All right, so you go and type your ID and you'll see this here, right? Except it won't say 3 zany zebras, right? It'll say, tiger named Fangs. Yes? So if you type your ID, you should see that. Although don't do it now because it'll be visible to the whole world, right? When it's off, when it's not being shared offline, you can type your student ID there, and you should see the the scores that you got.
May I ask again for the format for typing the code? What is it consist of, like my student ID or like what is shown on screen?
That looks good to me. Your student ID, that line looks perfect to me. Who is it?
Yeah.
Jingheng?
Yeah, it's mine. And I put my ID instead of 1 through 8, but I cannot find anything.
How about this? Okay, let's do this experiment right now. Right, turn that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 into, let's say, what is it? Just turn that into a Chanyi test, right? Say instead of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, type Chanyi in capital in QIANYI. Just type that all in. Yeah, that's fine. Lowercase, uppercase. That's fine. Okay, save it. Save it. Yeah, saved.
Saved.
Okay, now grab this file. Whatever this file is, grab that into the questing site. Go into the questing site in a browser. Open a browser. Open a browser. Go to the questing site and grab this file and drop it in there into tiger named Fangs. Can you open a browser?
Yes.
Here, I'll put it in the chat for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I saved the link.
Okay.
Oh, great. Yeah, grab that file. Grab your CPP file that you just created. Okay, yeah. All right. Now, good. You can look at the result. All right, good. Well, actually, it worked. Okay. Well, now open another. Yeah. Go to the other one. The other tab. Maybe you have this /Q there. Yeah. Type in Chanyi. Chanyi. Yeah. What? Is it exactly the same as the other one?
Yeah.
No, show me that file again.
Did you capitalize your name?
Yeah, I capitalized.
Let's take a look at the file. Take a look at the file. I want to see the file again. So can you show me the file?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a tiger named Fangs is not showing up here, huh? All right, Johnny, I will take a look, okay? After we hang up today, I'll take a look at this and I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Try it one more time. Just be sure. Go back to the /Q site and type in Chanyi.
Yeah, it might have a delay.
Type in all lowercase. I don't know. I'm just trying to debug here. No. All right. Okay. I'll take a look.
Thank you, Professor.
No worries.
And I have a
go ahead.
Sorry, I have a third question about the collaboration point. I tried to figure out what's the meaning of the collaboration point.
You're collaborating just fine in class. That's all that's needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh wow, your solution, your submission.
Thank you, Professor.
No worries, no worries. Is that the end of class? You guys want to go now, right?
Well, I did have one question. I have a bad case
sure.
of
Go for it.
I have a bad case if it works on my computer, but when I look at the output on the questing site for the mini quest, I have the first 2 are good, but the last one, what runs on my computer, it gives me some really funky output when I submit it to the website. I was just curious what command line or like. Not command line arguments. Yeah, command line arguments.
Oh, you're talking about the eTalks?
eTalks, yes.
Okay. Well, I call the program and give it the exponent on the command line. That's all.
So just a couple of numbers?
Yeah, I guess so. I've forgotten exactly, but I give it the required arguments on the command line. You see, in main, there's argc and argv. So I basically just use those as the input, the parameters to your etox function.
Okay.
I convert them
I
into
think,
floating point numbers, and I use them as the parameters for your etox.
all right, I don't think I'm actually feeding it from the command line. I'm actually asking it from.
You don't have to. You don't have to do anything. Oh, you mean in your own tests? You don't have to. You don't have to interact with the user. You don't have to mess around with command line arguments. You only have to write the etox. I'll take care of writing my main. My main will use my command line parameters, and then invoke your etox. My main is going to parse my command line parameters, turn them into numbers, and then call your etox with those numbers. So you don't have to worry about interacting with the user at all. You just write the etox functions. And however, for you to test it, in order for you to test it, there's two ways you can test it, right? You can, the easiest way for you to test it is don't do the command line and interaction and argc, argv. Don't mess around. You just call the function etox. You've written a function called etox that takes 2 parameters, right? Just call it from main with five different ways, 10 different ways, 100 different ways. Just call it from main and see if the result returned is the same. That's all, right? Because I call it with 87,3, and I see if I get, if I get the same. I call it with 2.2, and I say, does marks e to the 2.2 return what e to the 2.2 is, right? That's what I see, and so you don't have to worry about that. So you don't have to interact with the user. Just make sure the etox function, if given the right parameters, performs the right thing. I think that will pass all tests.
Okay. I have to look further into it because every time I submit it, instead of output, it shows me the prompt over and over and over.
I see.
I have no idea how that's happening.
Try and attempt it with without the main, and like I said, and if it still doesn't make sense, just feel free to ask the forums or get back to me, and I'll take a look again. I'm just more puzzled why Chanyi's submission didn't actually show up here. Hey, I'm actually looking at the log right now. If you don't mind, Chanyi, can you just go back to that link that Mark clicked on that link again and drag your file in? I want to see if it's coming in. But it did. You got the results, so obviously it did come in. And scanning through the logs, you're wow. There's a whole bunch of logs from Baidu. Hits from Baidu. Oh, tiger name Fangs. Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah. So yeah, your IP address must be 98.42. So I think that's the one that came in at 1016. All right. So you've done it again. All right. All right. So good. And let me see. Oh, for some reason you're going in as you're coming in as an anonymous submission. Okay. Good. Yeah. Now I know. I think I know why you're coming in as anonymous. But certainly, instead of Chanyi, type in a numeric ID, right? Type in some fictitious numeric ID. Do the same thing again, Chanyi, if you don't mind. But instead of letters, just type in a numeric ID. Any numeric ID will do.
Like A through 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even 85, 85 or 81, just 2-digit number 2, I think should be fine.
Okay.
I'm just using you to test my program. So how unfair is that? But I'm thankful to you because you got a case here that I can just narrow it down without having to code. I'm trying to minimize as much as possible of coding because normally I do a lot of coding during class. Also operate the keyboard, but since last year my RSI has been playing up, so I try to minimize the coding as much as possible and get you guys to code and actually talk you through the code, which is actually working out quite nicely. And I've actually cut down my computer use now or keyboard use by more than 50%, more than 50%, and I think it's helping. So let's see if this gets better and better. Maybe next year I can start coding more with you guys. Oh, it still came in as anon. Why is it coming in as anon? Hey, Chanyi, I bet the student ID, the entire student ID line is not being picked up. here is what I would suggest, okay? Get rid of the entire line. I think the funny characters are inside of the student word, not in the ID part, okay? Get rid of the entire line. Type in the entire line, including 2 forward slashes by hand. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, type in the entire line in your code. Unless you're actually, here's something that you can find out. Yeah, type it in. You type in with a number. We'll find out. I have a feeling you're submitting a different file than the file that you're actually saving. That's a case, right? That's possibility. So we can find out. Yeah, student. No, you got to say student space ID.
Okay.
Student space ID colon. Yeah, okay. Let's not try, that ID has been used by a lot of people. Just say, let's say all zeros, or all fives. Yeah, that's less likely to have been used. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, good.
Does it matter if there's a space at the beginning?
It shouldn't matter, but let's try it without the space, because we can try both those experiments. I'm pretty sure I'm accounting for the space. Yeah, save that and stick it in there, and let's see if I can tell if the ID is, if the file is coming in. Oh, you took the space out. All right.
Do you want me to put the space in?
No, so we'll try it both ways. We'll try it without the space. I'll see if it's coming in.
Okay, I will try.
Okay, so it just you just submitted it. No, you haven't submitted. Submit now. All right, so you just submitted. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, you're getting this back. All right, now you submitted it. All right, let's see. All right, so now, yeah, 555 worked. So if you go to your /q site and type in 5555, it should work. Right? Now put in a space and try again with a different ID. Let's say 44. No, you didn't put the right number of fives. Hey, hey, now go back to the /q site. I think you had how many fives here?
Seven.
I think you had 7 fives.
Yeah.
Seven. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay, so you got to type in the exact number. You can't type in one number in the source code and another number in the /q site. Okay, now put.
Okay, so now.
No, try a different number. Try 44, so that we don't confuse the two. Right? Yeah, just do 3/4. Just do 3/4. That's enough. We're having trouble counting the numbers. Right? Yeah, just do 3/4. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Try now. Okay, all right. So you got 444. Now go yeah, /q. That should also work. Okay, so if my hypothesis is correct, all right, so we're doing the proper scientific thing here. We got a hypothesis, we're testing it out, thanks to you. All right, now go back to the same place where you had the 444. Replace the 444 with Qian, right? Qianyi, right? Or just say QQQ for now, right? Whatever. Right, yeah, okay. Now run it.
By the way, does anyone else hear a beeping sound?
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. It's my problem. Okay. So what I did was I have the log file. All right. No. All right. You shouldn't hear the beeping sound anymore.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Chanyi, that should also work. If you go to the question site and type in Chanyi, it should work. Did you type it?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay, so here's my hypothesis, okay? My theory, and we can verify this later on, the one that didn't work. The problem was not in the student ID, because even after we discovered the problem, we tried to fix the problem. You went and erased the student ID and typed it in by hand. Erased the student ID, we typed it in hand, yes? But we forgot the possibility that the error is not in the student ID. The error is in the word student ID. So the funny characters were inside the STUDI there, right? So it never matched. That entire line never matched I was scanning your file to find where student ID is. And I never found it because your student ID has funny characters in it.
I see.
Right? So, well, ultimately it's not your problem, right? It's my problem because as the person who designed the interface, I shouldn't require you to account for characters that you can't even see. Right? From a designer's perspective, if you look at this whole thing from a designer's perspective, the problem is not with you. The problem is with me, because when I designed it, I should have taken account of the system to say, well, most people can't even see it, and they're going to see an error. right? Although the error is justified because the error is caused by something they can't see, but they can't see it. Therefore, the error belongs to me, it doesn't belong to them. Right? So at some point, so I have to ask for your forgiveness here, because at some point later on, after this quarter, maybe, right? I have it in my mind. Yeah, maybe I'll make a point, right? I need to fix up the place where I scan your source code for student IDs. All I need to do really is strip out the funny characters before I do the match, and which I'm not doing at this point. And it's been in my list of things to do. And once that's done, 10% of the questions in the forums will go away. Because 10% of the blue Reddit sub for questions, or I put my student ID there, but my score is not on the /Q site, right? So after I fix that, those questions will go away.
Kind of sounds like a regular expression challenge, huh?
Yeah, regular expression challenge, exactly. So I forgot to take out the special characters. And even more dangerous, insidious in this case, that John fortunately brought up, is that
You think you could put your student ID, submit it offline, and see if it works now?
Yeah, go ahead. It should work. Yeah, all of they should all work. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that way, if it doesn't work,
I'm glad we
can
debugged
get
it, right?
back to
Because this is
fixing
not
it.
something we could have debugged separately. Yeah, thanks. All right, awesome. I'll see you guys next week. Yeah, is that okay?
I have just a quick question for the IDE and compiler suggestions, at least for on Mac, for when we would need it.
Yeah,
because I have
use whatever
no idea which ones to use for Mac.
Whatever feels comfortable to you. If you have a Mac, I would say just get started with Xcode, right?
With Xcode?
If you have a Mac, Xcode is, the reason I say that is because even though you can use Visual Studio and all these other fancy tools on the Mac, the reason I say Xcode is because here's my hypothesis, right? And I might be completely wrong, is that if I'm not mistaken, in the next year, at least in the next year, Apple will come out with their Oculus equivalent, right? Some kind of glasses, virtual reality, augmented reality glasses. And they're going to have an interface for that, just like your iPhone and iWatch. And going to be, it's going to be really fun to program these VR glasses. Yes, because in the VR you can create entire worlds. You can create entire worlds, right? So you can just download the Unreal development environment or Unity, right? Let's say Unreal, because you're doing C++, right? If you're doing Java and C#, you can do it in Unity. But since you're doing C++, you have the full power. You just download the Unreal engine. Right, development kit, and you can start writing your C++ code for Unreal. So you can start building these environments in C++. But who knows the APIs that Apple is going to introduce, right? Because every time some new company introduces they have their own SDKs and they have their own calls. And what I've found in the past is that many of the Apple frameworks they release, at least initially, or even continuing on, like if you want to program for the watch, you got to get used to Xcode and Swift at some point, right? It's going to be a pain for other people that are used to a different environment. You got to go through that learning curve, and it'll take a couple of months, right? It's better to get over that hump, that couple of months, when you're still learning other things as a student, rather than when you've mastered C++, done a couple of projects, you already have, your head is brimming with ideas, and you're really impatient to get something done and coded, and say, "Whoa, now I got to, in order to get this coded, I got to learn Xcode." The 2 months you got to spend to learn, or maybe it's not 2 months, maybe it's 1 month. Actually, I don't think so. It's got to be 2 months, because there's a lot of nuances you got to encounter. It'll take 2 months. The 2 months you got to encounter when your head is brimming with ideas and they kind of squeeze out through your eyes and body, all of your, it's going to be far more painful to endure those 2 months, to endure the learning curve of Xcode at that time, right? Now you got the luxury. You don't have. So when you're learning C++, just pick up this IDE, learn Xcode, because then you'll be prepared. When VR glasses come out from Apple, you'll be set, right? You just unroll download the Unreal Engine on an iMac or something like that, and you just start coding, bam, like that, right? And then you start inviting future CS2A students, right? I'll say, hey, now go to this, my 2021 students created this virtual world, right? Virtual questing arena. They took our questing and ported it in using Unreal into a virtual world, right? So you can go into this virtual world and do all the quests virtually, right? In 3D. So you should be able to do that, and you'll be set up for that, right? So I don't know, it'll happen in the next year. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, right? Because the rate at which the technology is progressing, where the way we're able to shrink things and get a transparent and foldable displays and all these things, it's not going to be long before we have all that amazing technology built into our eyeglasses. So I think it's better to better to get used to Apple's framework. If not Apple, Google, but I found that the Android environment for me was harder. Even though I've used Java for a long time, the Android ecosystem was harder for me to not break into, but understand and grasp as strongly as the Swift. Even though Swift was also new to me, right? So Apple basically just decided, one day, right, at the conference, and say we introduce this new language called Swift, which actually has a lot of nice aesthetic features. Because if it didn't, I think for me anyway, right? Because Swift as a language itself for me didn't bring that much. I don't know, maybe it did, but it's integration with all the apps. That's of course, right? But aesthetics wise, it brought a few aesthetic details into the language that I really like. That's the reason why yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's good to be prepared for this.
Yeah, so because I kind of don't have any idea which IDE and compiler to use.
Try them all out. Try them all out. This is your best chance to try them. Try all these ideas out.
Yeah,
try
because
one
I don't really know where to start in the first place. Because there was I forget who exactly. I think it was Mark put on Reddit like Sea Lion.
Sea Lion is,
So I
is
tried
not
that.
free. Okay, let me tell you that right up front. It may be a good environment. I don't think it's free. Maybe you can get a free student copy, but I generally don't put a great deal of effort into picking up things just because they're free for students. Because how long are you going to? You're going to be a lifelong student, but these are not students. It's not free for lifelong students. They're only free for university students or college students, which means they're kind of banking on you to get used to it. And once you get used to it, you're going to find it harder to switch after you get used to it, right? And so find out beforehand if it's going to be free forever, because there's a lot of really good free stuff, right? And if you look at computer science in general, what I found is that some of the best stuff is free, right? That's a strange thing in computer science, is that people who take it on themselves to build things that are really fantastic, right? Just say, I don't want to sell it for money. I'll make it free. And usually the things that are subpar, they usually have a cost associated with them, right? Because I don't know. I don't know. Not always.
The only IDE I endorsed was Notepad++, which it's
which one?
It's not the best.
which one?
Notepad++.
Oh, Notepad++. Yeah.
But that one is free.
It's okay. I've used it. It comes with Windows, right?
No. Notepad comes with Windows. Notepad++ is Notepad, but it changes the colors for you.
Yeah, I used that. So it did come with. I had Windows 10 installed on my machine by Foothill when I was on campus, and then Mario must have installed Notepad++ for me. Yeah, because it was there after a fresh install. So maybe it was part of a package that Foothill basically installs for all faculty after they do a.
What about compilers?
G++, I think, goes by CLang and things. Here's what I would suggest. Mark or someone, or maybe it's already there. There is a guide in the forums for how to get started. And it actually has everything in there, including how to install a compiler. If not, just Google, right? So it's Google for getting a compiler installed on a Mac. On a Mac, you don't have to do it, right? On a Mac, you already have G++ and CLang installed. Yes?
For me, yeah. At least I know I had installed CLion like a few days ago, and then G++, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. You just tried it. Someone shared the screen with me.
I think it was me.
Chris.
Like with the terminal, right?
Yeah, terminal.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, it was you.
Yeah.
See, G++ is there. And G++ is basically CLang, their compiler, C compiler. It's already there.
Okay.
Cool. All righty. Thank you again for hanging out here and humoring me. So have a great weekend, guys. And I'm so glad and so grateful to all of you guys for being interactive and participative, and also putting up with me. Right? Sometimes I might be a little impatient, and you're taking it in stride. So thank you so much. All right. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or the forums or your classmates or the STEM Center. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yes, sir.
See
Bye.
you guys.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
You too.
Have a good weekend.